So last summer I spent a month on a reindeer farm in Greenland. I went there to give up eating and drinking and smoking and everything. You can see how well that went. But I became kind of fascinated by the place. And I thought it might be a good subject for a book. So a few months ago I went to speak to my agent and I said I'm thinking about writing a book about Greenland. And she goes, "Oh, like that way that Green Witch in Wicked goes the way agents do with Janet," which is kind of nice. And she said, "Well, everybody's looking for books about Greenland now." And we all know why. There's a certain person. You see, everybody thinks Trump is working for the Russians, but actually he's working for the Association of Icelandic Writers who write about Greenland. The AIOWWOE. But anyway, you'll notice that about once a month he'll say something about Greenland just to get our attention. He hasn't said anything in a while, so I might have to release one of those files we have on him. But yeah, I was supposed to send something to her this week, maybe next. Nothing happens until Frankfurt in the autumn anyway. But the first chapter is something like this. See how it works. The second drink is served just in time to finish as the plane begins its descent. The sea below turns solid as we approach. Row upon row of figures made of ice take shape, like pawns protecting the dry land. Then the dry land. Grey cones protrude out of the white. Another was the ice planet Hoth, though that was apparently shot in Norway. Everything turns white. It's hard to tell if there are clouds below or just endless snow. The odd grey patch suggests the latter. No fjords, steep hills blanketed in cotton, glistening water. Greenland in summer looks a little like Iceland in winter. Greenland is Iceland's Iceland. We pass over what looks like an airport in the middle of nowhere. There's nothing else around, so I assume we will be circling back, which we do. Greenland is tough when it comes to transport with few inhabited areas, vast distances, and weather usually bordering on the insane. But this is a bright, clear day, and we easily descend towards the airport. Everyone applauds when we touch down, probably out of habit. The pilot bids us welcome in perfect Swedish. When I exit the plane, the air is so fresh it almost tastes like a soft drink. There's no border control, no customs, no security. The duty-free is closed and the luggage has not yet arrived, but there's a hot dog stand. People stumble in and out of the airport. Many joyous reunions. I am reminded that I have absolutely no idea what to do next. My host Stefan won't be in country for a week. His daughter is supposedly on the same plane as me with a small baby, and is to take me up to wherever it is the reindeer farm is. She has the memorable name of Freya Athena, but I have no idea what she looks like. After a couple of months traveling across northern Germany and Denmark, I didn't make any arrangements for Greenland, but relied on the pickup going to plan. It is not going to plan. My phone pings. The internet is working again. My friend Ausger from Northern Iceland tells me that it has just been announced who will get the non-fiction grants this year. 102 months of pay are allotted in total. I only applied for 3, but that will make all the difference. I tried to open the attachment to see if my name is on the list. This is going slowly, and meanwhile the mail arrives from Stefan. It contains a picture of Freya. I look around and locate her among a group of people. She is not happy to see me. My fiancée just died and I'm going to the funeral, she says in fluent Icelandic, and adds, "I can't believe my father asked me to worry about you too." I'm a bit of shock, so I have to read. "My fiancée," she says. I offer my condolences, not sure what else to do. But they're all heading off and I need to know where to go. Narsarsuaq is not so much a town as an airport located at the foot of a mountain. I need to go somewhere where there are houses. Freya does offer to help. Where do you want to go, she asks. Qaqortoq or Narsaq? I have no idea. Here, call this number, she says, and nimbly types on my phone. I am greeted by a voice machine in Inuit. Try this one, she says, and types in another number. This time, a woman answers. I address her in Norwegian and she replies in surprisingly understandable Danish. This seems to be working. She says she has a room in Narsaq. It costs 1,250 Danish, about 3 times more than the most expensive hotel room I've ever stayed in, but I'm in no position to haggle. But if I do stay here for a week and I don't get that grant, I accept the room and I give her my name. Oh, you're from Iceland, she says, in the purest, clearest Icelandic. Just come on over, we will work something out. I tell Freya that I am going to Narsaq. She directs me to a young local who will take me there. It costs 400 Danish crowns, but again, I am in no position to haggle. We get into a blue bus which drives us to the harbor. 3 small fishing boats being loaded with passengers. I am directed to the smallest of them. The captain helps me on board. Thankfully, I still have the Danish kroner. The young man, along with the European-looking lady, gets into the small cabin with the captain. I decide to stay outside. It's pleasant. It's a pleasant 8 degrees here. A nice change of the scorching heat of Copenhagen, where it goes over 20 degrees Celsius in the spring. I make my way past the pilot house to the front of the boat as we sail down the fjord. The vessel starts to pick up speed and wiggles from side to side. It's time to go into the cabin. There, people are discussing heatedly in Inuit. We pass by a waterfall which seems to arouse interest. Is it different than usual? I ask the young man in English, which he seems to prefer to Danish. More water coming down? No, the waterfall is the same, but it's very dry now. We need rain. The slopes too indeed look parched. We arrive in half an hour, the captain adds. It's already been half an hour. Narsaq is a long way off from Narsarsuaq. We pass an iceberg with birds sitting on top. For the briefest moment I think of penguin, but of course they only exist on that other pole. These are gulls which seem to get everywhere. More iceberg pop up in different sizes. We do not seem to be slowing down. I try not to think of the Titanic. I think of the Titanic. The boat turns a corner. A harbor comes into view. Brightly colored houses rise from the hills on Arctic Legoland. Welcome to Narsaq, the captain says, smiling as we pull into the pier. I get off the boat and step onto land. The woman from the hotel is waiting for me. Ausland, I presume, I say. Augusta, she corrects me. My living zone moment ruined. We get into a pickup truck and drive around what seems like the friendliest place on earth. Every time we pass someone by, Augusta enthusiastically waves or stops for a chat. Messages are passed along from one person to the next we meet, as if mobile phones didn't exist. Yes, you'll be coming down soon, she says to someone. Augusta's Danish is fluent and it turns out her mother is from there. She lives in Iceland in the winter, but comes here during the summer months to work at the hotel, which is owned by a relative. There she does whatever is needed, picks people up, drops them off, goes to the grocery store for supplies. I'm like a taxi, she says. 1,300 people live in Narsaq, but the town is spread out over a large area. There is little need to cluster on the world's largest island. A local is picked up and then dropped off at the helipad, which is the only other way to leave town except by boat. Finally, we arrive at the hotel. It's not the first time Stefanos visitors who get stranded here, she says. What are you going to be doing up here anyway? I'm going to quit smoking, I say. You won't be doing that in Greenland. We are basically fueled by this stuff, she says, and lights up on the patio. I do too. We had a tragedy here last week, she says after a few puffs. A boat went down with two men. One was 29 years old, Freya's ex-fiancé. The other was 43. They found the body of the latter. Relatives arrived from Denmark today to go to the funeral. And the other? Still not found. We go back in and Augusta offers me a room at the hostel, which is also owned by her relations. This is somewhat cheaper at 800 Danish kroner, still expensive, but the savings add up if, as it seems, I might be staying here a while. Also, didn't get that grant. She makes a quick call. I brought it down to 500 a night, she says. That's more or less Copenhagen prices, which is as good as it gets in these parts. What's more, I have the whole floor to myself. The 10 rooms are all unoccupied and probably will be until the season kicks off a month from now. There's a kitchen with a TV which receives Danish channels as well as Greenlandic ones, which only seem to broadcast a few hours a day. Downstairs, a staff member from the Philippines resides. The air is thick with the smell of Asian food. This is making me hungry. I head out to the grocery store. Augusta told me that on this very day the store is celebrating its 250-year anniversary, and everything is at a 25% discount. Quite a boom, as food prices are even higher here than in Iceland. It's best to use the opportunity to stock up. I take my time walking down the aisles to look for the best offers. 3 frozen pizzas in a box, a bag of frozen kebab meat. There are no tomatoes or cucumbers as the cargo ships haven't come in for a while due to sea ice. There's some fruit left over from the last batch, and I get a box of pears and try to find the least spoiled bananas. There's iceberg salad from Spain and ditto paprikas, some even look edible. I pass the rifle rack and find the booze corner. Unlike Iceland, they don't have specific state-run monopoly stores to sell liquor here. There are 2 shops in town which function as grocery shops, hardware stores, and alcohol outlets. It is considerably more expensive here than in Denmark or even Iceland. I really should have bought more at Danish duty free. The alcohol is not on discount, so I leave it be for now. Instead, I search for bread. I crisscrossed the store a few times when I realized they probably don't have bread. Wheat doesn't grow here, and bakery products won't last the long voyage from Denmark. Eventually I do find white bread in the freezer and unfrozen brown bread which keeps longer. I go for the latter. Despite the anniversary, the store is not very busy. It's getting near 6, approaching closing time. The 2 men in front of me in the checkout queue are buying load after load of frozen meat on discount. An opportunity like this won't come again soon. My haul fills up 2 shopping bags. The bill comes to 500 Danish kroner, roughly the same as in Iceland, even with the discount. Back at the Igloo Hostel, I put away the groceries, place a pizza in the oven, pour myself a glass of Norwegian potato vodka from the Copenhagen duty free, and sit on the bench outside for a smoke. In the distance, a Danish naval frigate sails by. Close to shore, an iceberg floats. The tenth of it that is visible, looking like a hippo or a frog, perhaps. The sun hangs low in the sky, mountains on every side. It's kind of nice here, says Augusta, who stops by in her pickup to check up on me. It kind of is. So, this should be coming out in Icelandic in the autumn. At least I've signed the contract. There goes, and we'll see what my agent says about the rest of the world, but Trump seems to be distracting everyone's attention from Greenland now. But Greenland is still there, and we're checking out. Thank you.